Evening, everyone. So we will go ahead and get started with the programming workshop for today. Just as a caveat, I do want to inform everyone that although this is kind of labeled as a workshop, we are very open and receptive to feedback, any questions or comments that you all may have. Please refer to the chat box or the Q&A box down below. You can also ask questions anonymously if you should desire. So just so you know that those options are available to you, and that what we will talk about and discuss throughout this workshop is not a end all be all solution to anything coming up for the fall semester. Again, we are very open in this, and we do ask for grace and vulnerability during this time because this is new for all of us. A lot of us have not been in this situation before. So again, grace and mercy will see us all through. No question is a dumb question. So again, feel free to ask any questions throughout this presentation, and someone will try to answer them. And if we don't have an answer, we will try to get you an answer. So to start off, again, this is the Office of Student Activities. We are hosting a program workshop. I am Shantia Swenson-Rowe. I am the coordinator for student clubs and organizations, and I am also the advisor for the Council of Presidents. Today, we will kind of cover the welcome. We will go over programming collaborations and what those look like. We will talk about risk management techniques related to COVID-19, and we will talk about virtual programming and what those can or can't look like for student organizations. So again, welcome. Student organization involvement teaches students the importance of social responsibility, diversity, and effective communication. Through this, we are committed to the development of students and the positive impact and engagement students have on our campus community. So I truly do want to thank you all for taking time out during your summer schedule, your internship schedule, to kind of get some tips and tricks on how we are planning to kind of handle things for the fall semester and to elevate your programming efforts for the fall semester as well. So thank you. Program collaboration. If you want to lift yourself up, lift someone else as well, by Booker T. Washington. So program collaboration, or collaboration in general, is when a group of people come together and contribute their expertise for the benefit of a shared objective, project, or mission. For example, if a photographer is working with a designer to create a cover image, or a technology department is regularly convening with a marketing team to plug at their quarterly goals. Collaboration is truly the process of group work, but it's also a learned skill, right? Collaboration is not meant for everyone, especially if you are stuck in your own ways. How well you collaborate with others will greatly impact the outcome of your group project or program. Collaboration for any organization or any person in general is important because it allows us to brainstorm with someone else. It generates the need for problem solving and innovation. It brings a higher awareness to programs and projects. It brings you awareness of yourself also. It brings people together. You have the ability to learn from others and provide valuable feedback and contributions to a higher cause. Working in collaboration with other people also expands your communication skills. It can help boost the morale of your organization. It can also help with retention rates in your memberships and your organizations. A lot of you all would not be here had someone not collaborated with you or worked with you in some form of fashion. So again, collaboration looks very, very different on different levels. You can not only collaborate with another organization, but you can collaborate with a person. So that also helps, and why that is important. It also is very efficient. to collaborate with other organizations or people. Again, you do not have to do this work alone. Your student organizations were not created, nor have they stood on their own. So again, it takes true effort to have not only a program, but to continuously build your organization. So we will kind of cover why should you collaborate or who you should collaborate with. A few things to consider when you're working out who you should collaborate with is, do you have similar audiences? Do you do your organization share the same values? Do they produce quality content? Sometimes we see organizations collaborate with each other solely based off names and or membership numbers. But then the other party will get upset because no one is actually helping them with the production of the event. So then one organization or one person ends up doing it all on their own. You all know what it looks like when you have group projects, and that's something a lot of people tend to hate. But group projects are a lot like program collaboration. You have to both be willing to put in the work to get an effective product out of it. Also, you should think about, what do the organizations bring to the agreement? So what is one organization bringing the numbers and one organization helping with the funding aspect? What do both of you all, or if multiple organizations, what do you all contribute in order to truly make it a collaboration? A collaboration is not just throwing your name on a flyer and saying we're working with them. So keeping those concepts in mind. Will your members benefit from the collaboration, right? What does another organization have to also contribute to your membership and how your members can be uplifted or learn something new? And then also, again, as we referred to earlier, is the collaboration affordable? If you're trying to plan a big event on campus, but you don't have the money for it, and the other organization doesn't have the money for it as well, then that event is not affordable for either one of you. So then how can you scale back that event? These are just a few questions to consider, again, when you're thinking about what kind of organization you should collaborate with or who you should collaborate with. And then this is kind of just an update. Again, we are all in the phase of grace and mercy, and especially during this time period. These are the current updates for the Student Center regarding spacing for social distancing. We do not yet have the updated requirements for academic spaces. We should have that within the next week or so. Hopefully, but again, we will send out those updates and communications as we get them. But as you all are thinking about program collaborations or your programs in general for the fall semester, please keep the factor of social distancing will still be in place. Now more than ever, we have seen another spike in COVID-19 numbers. So this is not going anywhere for the fall. It will not change. But it will change, it will change the way your programming looks. So you really need to start thinking about whether or not it's actually going to be beneficial for your organization to have a program in person versus in a virtual format. And then that kind of leads us into this next component of risk management. And preparing for your events during COVID-19, and especially as we talk about the fall semester. So risk management is the process of identifying, assessing, and controlling incidents or threats to an organization. These threats or risks could stem from a wide variety of sources, including financial uncertainty, legal liabilities, strategic management errors, accidents, or just natural disasters, such as COVID-19. When you are beginning to think about a risk management process, These are a few questions that not only we ask that you consider, but questions that we have begun to consider as a university when we talk about reopening for the fall semester. So again, risk identification. What can go wrong if you are having a physical event on campus? Again, we are not saying that you all cannot have physical events on campus, but you have to consider the social distancing measures that are put in place. So then that brings us to risk analysis. How will it affect us? How will it affect the way that you interact with your members? How will it affect in the potential of gaining new members? How will it affect your executive board in the work that they do? Will they still be motivated to be an officer of the organization if all your programs are virtual? If they don't have that ability to have that face-to-face contact with others? Risk control, what should we do? So then you are thinking about how to combat the potential of any harm or things that are done at your event. So you are considering losses and ways to recover your losses for an event. So if you are having a physical program on campus, and let's say you are having food, but people don't feel comfortable touching food or having food, and they don't know where it has come from or who has prepared it, then how is your organization prepared to recover that loss from the money that you've now lost from the food? So those are just a few things to think about when we talk about what you should consider in order for loss prevention. And then risk treatment is something does happen. How will your organization be able to handle it or pay for it if it's a monetary thing? So how you have to, these are just, again, so a few questions to consider and think about as you all are planning for the fall and developing a risk management plan if you are having physical in-person events or programs. A few of risk management plans can include a commitment from all levels of the organization. So this is kind of the university stance point, and once we have that, again, you all will have that shared communication. But then what is the university doing in regards to the risk management plans of helping students be able to social distance and still maintain safe programs? But as organizations, I want you all to think about your policies and procedures and how you will establish those and clearly define them for your officers. So what will all your officers be in charge of if you are having an in-person event or a virtual event? Who is going to do what? Who is going to be responsible? And how are you holding your members accountable? I often find that we do not want to hold our peers accountable, right? Because they're our friends. We don't want to mess up the friendship, but you oftentimes have to look at this as a business concept. You have to be willing and able to hold your peers accountable, especially during times like these. Making sure that you have the adequate resources and tools for your plan. So don't develop a plan and say, oh, we want to make sure everyone has masks and make sure everyone has gloves for every event that we host on campus. But then you as an organization can't physically afford having gloves and masks at every event that you try to host on campus. So just be realistic with yourself, what your organization can do, and what you can do as an individual student, right? This time is not only about your organization, but it's about you personally. So keep all of that in mind as you are thinking about how to develop a risk management plan for your on-campus events and your virtual events for the fall semester. The benefits of a risk management plan is to, again, save you valuable resources. Save your time, your efforts, your energy. Save your organization's money in your personal funding. I know oftentimes organizations receive grants or donations, or you all fundraise on your own. Save the money that you have already have for your organization. Don't try to go above and beyond, again, given the current circumstances. You do not want to lose anything or your members because you are trying to over program for them. And then also really consider your mental health during this time period. We know what it looks like for students to be zoomed out and fatigued. We saw it already in the spring semester, and we were only doing that from March to May. We know that some professors give more work, some are a little bit more lenient. So again, consider yourself as individuals, consider your officers, and consider your peers as you begin to plan for programs to put all these things in mind. Truly, I believe that this semester, less is going to be more. You don't have to have 20 programs to be an effective organization, to be a standout organization. Really, 1 or 2, 3 to 4 with a higher impact will take you far than trying to do the 20 programs and nobody's showing up and people are like, okay, y'all are doing too much. Another benefit of creating a risk management program is, again, creating a safe and secure environment for your members and visitors of your program. People at this time, they want to know that they are safe, especially with everything going on in the world. We want to know that not only is the university thinking about me, but my peers are thinking about me. So again, that's why the social distancing measures are in place. But you all have to do your part and hold each other accountable as well. We know everyone is excited to try to return back to campus, but we all can't be outside in the parking lot just having fun, no mask, like there's not an increase in COVID-19 numbers, right? Just because it is not affecting you personally in that current moment, or you feel like you show no symptoms, does not mean that you are not a carrier as well, right? So we are being very cautious in this current state. Creating a risk management plan also helps reduce legal liability and increasing the stability of your operations. When we say legal liability, again, just like as a university, we would not want to get sued for students returning back to the university and contracting COVID-19. We would not want that to happen for any organization as well. So that is why, again, the risk management plan is truly going to be important for everyone to create and keep in mind, so that, again, we are not putting us as individuals at risk, nor our members, but we're not putting the organization at stake as well. We will also help to protect people and assets from harm. We are protecting the environment when we think about these things. And again, we are also reducing the threat of possible litigation. So just keep those in mind as you are considering your risk management plan. A few other things to consider as you are not only thinking about how you will have programs in the fall, program collaboration, but also consider this right now is the opportune time to gather data for virtual programming and engagement. Ask your members, do they want to have virtual programs? Or would they prefer in-person programs, and how that will look for your organization? And I would say, even as a semester, as we get into the semester and we go into the semester, evaluate your programs as you go. Measure if they're being effective or preferred. You might start out having in-person programs and quickly realize that your risk management plan isn't where it needs to be or should be, or it's just too much on you as students or individuals. So then maybe you then switch to virtual programming. Make sure that you have some form of feedback or survey in order to make sure that your efforts are being effective for your members. Think about what types of cleaning supplies or options are available to you. Again, this is something we are currently considering as the overall university, how we will continuously keep up with the upkeep of rooms for events. So that's something we are thinking about and considering as well. Consider signage with standard safety guidelines. You can, just a suggestion, you can have where you have people as they come into the room, you're making sure that they're wearing their masks, that they have some form of protection on, and you can give them hand sanitizer before they can come into the room. That again, just think about these things, because as much as you might think you're safe and you're fine, you do not know, and you cannot account for what other people do when they are not around you. So that's why all of these precautionary measures are important for not only your programs, but for in general for you as students. And then again, with more collaboration, you have more resources and more helping hands. If you are having an in-person program, think about limiting the amount of officers that come to your program. As you saw, the spacing requirements are for the full ballroom, a room that originally fits up to 500 people is now only able to host 91. So you now have to think about who from my executive board actually needs to be at this event and who can stand outside to help us manage the safety precautions that we put in place. These are things that you all should consider as you are thinking about hosting in-person programs in the fall. Another thing you should consider is what incentives does your program offer? And we, as much as, we like to say people are coming to our programs for the information, oftentimes we all know that people come because they like free things. And so outside of the information, if I am going to risk putting myself in harm's way, what incentives is your program offering to students? What are the true takeaways of that program? How will you utilize social media, whether it is Facebook Live, IG Live, Twitter Live, etc.? How will you utilize social media to not only communicate your either in-person programs, virtual programs, but to stay abreast of what your members want and need as well? I've already heard from a few organizations where they are taking the stance that they don't want to have any programs in the fall, and they will solely be doing kind of inspirational things on social media for their organizations. And so I have talked with them through a plan of what it looks like for them to post and do these things virtually on their social media to still keep their members engaged and let their presence be known as an organization on this campus. How will you plan, what is your plan to limit lines for events, right? So we have an online registration feature that you all got to experience as you all signed up for this workshop. That event feature allows people to RSVP, so we were aware of a head count. So if we were having this in person, we would know our numbers in advance to be able to adjust our room or just control for lines as well. Multiple check-ins. So are you having a scanner or tickets, or what kind of form are you controlling a line if you are having an in-person event? And I will just kind of highlight that with 1891 Connect, not only do we have the RSVP feature, but it also connects with an app that allows students to scan. So even if you don't want to set up the RSVP feature where students have to tell you in advance, you can scan upon entry to kind of keep a count up for your numbers or who was in attendance at your event. So again, send them some kind of survey after your event has taken place. We will also consider limiting food or drinks for your events. That is something I would preferably strongly consider. I know a lot of our organizations do their big food gatherings or their food fundraisings during the fall semester. So I would really consider limiting those options right now. Again, it's not like we don't have the spring. So deciding what can be held in the spring and what can be held in the fall will also help your organizations during this time of planning. Limiting surfaces, again, providing hand sanitizer stations at face-to-face or in-person activities. Creating traffic patterns to follow social distancing measures. So will you have stanchions? Will your members be in charge of kind of line control and things of that nature? How are you setting all of those things up for your in-person events? Again, encouraging your peers to wear a protective mask at events, ensuring that the staff and the students working your events are also wearing protective masks. And then kind of as I stated before, a thing to consider is, do all of your officers have to be at the event? So again, these are just a few things to consider. They are not the end all be all, but I do want you all to start thinking about these things as you consider doing in-person programs for the fall semester. It will look, again, drastically different in comparison to what you all are used to. Even though I know in some of your minds, it's like, this doesn't affect, so I'm not thinking about this, but you do have to be considerate of others and in line with the university policy. And so we are charged with doing self-checks and evaluations. And so we want to make sure that you all are doing the same thing as well. Now we will kind of take a look again at virtual programming. And just as a reminder, we are all in this together. Virtual programming looks fairly new for a lot of offices, a lot of students here on campus. So again, there's no right solution, there's no wrong solution, but we do want and encourage you all to think through these things as you are trying to develop whether or not you want to have an in-person program or a virtual program and their impact on not only your membership, but your overall organization. So again, going virtual, will the purpose or learning outcomes be negatively impacted by going virtual? Will your event look different? Will the meaning of your event look different? Do you need to change the possible outcomes? Right. So if you have a traditional event that your organization always hosts on campus, can you now make that event virtual, but do the outcomes change? Is something to consider. Have you considered how to address any access limitations like technology or ability? All of your peers do not have the technology to be on Zoom or Google Hangouts, or not all of them will, again, be able to come to the event. So how are you going to address those access limitations? What platform or service will best meet the needs of your programs? Whether that is Zoom, that is GoToMeeting, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, Twitter Live, what platform will best meet the needs of your program? And then are there any additional costs to using that platform or service? So if it's anything outside of things that are free, can your organization handle paying for a platform or service for it to host your events or meetings for your student organization? The Cost of Student Activities Fund, or COSA, does not have the ability to cover technology. So you cannot also request that from our office as well. We do not have the ability to pay for additional technology for student organizations. So that is, again, something to consider as you are looking at how you want to host a program and doing it virtually. Then what are the additional pieces surrounding that as well? And then are there any additional security measures needed to ensure that you have a safe and successful event? This does not only apply for in-person but virtually a lot of things that we've been seeing going on is Zoom bombing. So if you are going to have a virtual event, are you going to just automatically give out the access link for any and everyone to join your program? Or are you putting in safety precautions to ensure that you have the correct audience at your event, that people are not attending your event with malicious intent? So these are just a few things to think about when we talk about security measures in a virtual form, to ensure that you have a safe event. Not only that, but a secure and safe internet connection, and making sure that what you're sharing, how we're sharing the screen, what you're sharing is also the information that you truly want to give out. What we've also seen with quite a few Zoom and or Google meetings happening is people forgetting the ability to turn off their cameras and then doing something inappropriate, right? So making sure that you have security measures in place for your virtual events, excuse me. Virtual programs that we've seen thus far throughout the semester and from other institutions look like virtual meetups, so Fullbody Meetings, check-in meetings with members. We've seen people host Netflix parties, do virtual museum or theme park visits. Community service does have the ability to be done virtually. There are quite a few websites out there and initiatives that are solely online, and that work can be done through that format. So we have thought about community service in respect to social distancing as well. TED Talks, sending your members TED Talk links or join the TED Talk conversation. We've seen game nights such as bingo, trivia, categories, charades, heads up, all done virtually. We've seen open mic nights or talent shows done virtually. We've saw where organizations have just simply put out helpful tips, self-care reminders during this time period, tips about how to maneuver within their major, how to gain access to scholarships within their major. So again, other ways that your organization can truly contribute to the field or service initiatives that you all believe in, but at a reduced capacity. As we've hinted on before, IG or Facebook or Twitter streaming for events and programs. And then we've also seen interfaith sessions done in a virtual format. This is not an end-all be-all list. These are just some of the things that we witnessed you all do as student organizations over the ending of the spring semester, and things that we have witnessed other institutions do as well. So now what we will do is we will kind of send you all a poll. Please vote on that poll, and we will try to turn that program into a virtual program, just to kind of give you a feel of what it looks like for collaboration, and we will kind of talk through risk management as well for a virtual program. We will give it just a few more seconds for everyone to vote. I need a few more people to vote because I got a tie, or we can kind of go through both of them. So it looks like we will go through both of them. So we will start with full body meetings, right? So for full body meetings, a way that you can turn those virtual. So oftentimes when we host full body meetings, we are delivering current updates about our organization. We are giving updates on community service events or initiatives. And then we kind of do some form of interaction with our members, such as a quick game or get to know you kind of thing with our members. And then sometimes we also have speakers come into our full body meetings. As you all consider how to turn those things virtual, I would really say it's not impossible, right? But making sure that your full body meetings are impactful and engaging, giving your members truly the need to know information. Your meetings do not have to be an hour, 2 hours, right? This is the time to condense and give people just exactly what they need, while also still having some of those fun components. So for your full body meetings, you could use, and it just depends on how many members that your organization hosts. Google Hangouts, again, I know majority of all students have, well, not I know, but all students have a Google account. So Google Hangouts will really be, or Google Meets, excuse me, will really be your kind of maybe your best option in order to meet with your members. That way, you have more than the 15 minutes that are your current student Zoom accounts allow you to host, or you can have your advisor set up your full body meeting, your full body Zoom meetings for you, which will allow you to have additional time. As employees, we do not have the same restrictions that you all as students currently have on your Zoom accounts. So this is also a good time to ask your advisor and get to know your advisor in this capacity of asking your advisor, can they set up your meetings for you? That way, all they have to do is log in through their account, and then you all can still run your meeting and have as much time as you need as well. Think about how you will structure your meeting, right? So getting all the important, if you run your meetings in the way of, we do information first and then the fun stuff afterwards, or we do the fun stuff first and then we do kind of the information, think about how you will structure that. So if you know that you currently already struggle with getting your members to attend events and your meetings, do the meeting highlights first. Do the important part first, and then give them the ability to opt out of possibly doing the interactive piece or the getting to know each other piece. Sometimes people just need the option. So giving them a little more space, this go around may be more beneficial. But planning out your meetings to do that, I would also suggest giving your executive board more leeway and more control in hosting the meetings. So assigning a different person to lead the meeting will also kind of be helpful, because then you can also highlight that on your social media to say, well, this week our president is hosting the meeting. Next week our secretary may be hosting the meeting. That way you are also keeping people engaged in a social media realm, so that they know that you all are still doing programs, you're still conducting meetings, but it also gives your officers a little bit more responsibility and takes some of it off of solely the president or vice president, who may feel kind of the weight of the organization right now. So that's just something to consider as you turn your virtual body, your full body meetings virtual. I would also think about, can you collaborate for your full body meetings? Like, is this the time for all 20 plus of our engineering organizations that have all kind of different specialities to do their full body meetings all separately? Or can they come together and have at least one full body meeting together? That's just something to think about. Not saying it has to be done, but it's just something to consider. Like, is this a time for us to say, I've seen this other organization do really well in their programming, in the way that they gain members. So can they come teach my organization something, and can they shed some light for us? Is that the time, or is this the time for that kind of collaboration? That will also be helpful, because then if you are advertising it as, 3 or 4 organizations are having a full body meeting together, and we are talking about how we have grown our organizations, how we have grown our membership, what we do to make our organization successful, then not only are you generating buy-in from your current members, but you are reaching an audience of potential members, because they will then be learning what you do as an organization. So it's really just thinking outside of the box for your full body meetings. From a risk management perspective, again, it just depends on what software you all will utilize to conduct your full body meetings. And as I said, please get in contact with your advisor and have them set up your full body meetings for you if you decide to utilize Zoom, or you, again, as students, all have access to Google Meets. So that is those 2 things. I've also seen where some organizations have just kind of held their meetings via IG Live, and just have someone talk through the current updates, and then they just save the video and post it to their page. Again, it's going to depend on your audience, what you want to share, and how much you want to share with not only your members, but people in general, especially when we talk about putting them on social media platforms, because anyone will have access to that information. So those are just a few things to consider when you are thinking about your full body meetings. For game nights, we have seen those done virtually. You can pretty much literally Google, because I was playing around with this the other day. You can literally Google free bingo or free virtual bingo, free trivia, free virtual. And there are so many sites that have them with the ability to adapt them to Zoom or Google Meets. You literally just click on the applications and it runs the game for you. So that's kind of one way that we've seen game nights turn virtual. Charades, anyone can download the app, and you all can just get on Google Meets or Zoom together in order to host a virtual game night. You can ask your members, take a Twitter poll, Instagram poll, send out a survey, ask your members what kind of games do they want to play. Again, that generates some buy-in and gives them some say-so for your organization and what you all are hosting. So that's just that's a snippet of how game night can be conducted. And again, as you think about doing it virtual, you will have those same risk management considerations of how you'll advertise it, how you'll send out the link to join the game or play the game, and then who is allowed to participate. One thing that I would truly say to everyone is consider how you all felt at the end of the spring semester, between making the quick adjustment, going back home, being an online student if you've never taken online classes before, and then either the current organizations you're in or current organizations you're now part of still trying to host programs and those attendance numbers. These truly need to be factors of consideration because you do not want to tap out your members before you get to the spring semester, which often happens, even when we do have full-on in-person programs. We tend to tap out our members because we are doing too many programs. As I said before, less is going to be more in the fall semester, and collaboration will truly be more impactful and has the potential to be more impactful for everyone's organization in this current time frame. The more we band together and come together to do certain things, the better off we will be, because we have truly seen the fatigue of being virtual, having virtual classes and programs for our student population. And with the consideration that we will most likely have majority of campuses, of classes in still a virtual capacity as well, due to classing sizes. So just keep those things in mind. Keep yourself in mind as you are planning these events with and for your organization. You are still students first, and your academics come first before these organizations. So keep those things in mind as you are trying to plan programs for your organization and the student body as a whole. What will truly be important right now in this time versus possibly what can be done in the spring. But we also do not want to overload ourselves in the spring either. So we will address any continuous questions in the Q&A box or the chat box. But just again, we are in a realm of grace and mercy. Everything is truly we are in a shared responsibility right now. We all have the ability to either make impactful changes or to stay stagnant in where we are. And we are currently, again, continuously reviewing and adapting. Every day I am pretty much looking at some training session from other professionals regarding how they are doing in informing and utilizing their student organizations. And a lot of us are all going through the same issues. So please keep that in mind as you consider or think that you are alone in this process. This is something we are truly all working through. So if you ever have any questions or concerns about a potential program idea, please do not hesitate to shoot us an email, reach out via social media with a program idea. We are always here to help you all work through these things, especially during this time. So registration timeline, just as a brief reminder, registration for student organizations will still occur July 1st, 2020. It will open up at 8:00 a.m. Both sites on 1891 Connect as well as the Office of Student Activities payment portal will be open during that time to pay the registration fee. Registration fees will increase on August the 1st. It will be $50 per organization after August the 1st. And just as a caveat and reminder, this will be the only time that we are doing registration this year. We will not be doing registration for the spring semester. So just so you have time to kind of think through with your members, consider the fact that this will be the only time that you will be able to register your organization during this time period. The student organization retreat is still scheduled for August the 22nd. from 11 to 5. That will be in a virtual format. And we will send out more details about the org retreat and how to register for certain sessions, who will be required to come to certain sessions, again, so that we are impactful and not on Zoom all day with everyone. So we will send that out to you all as we develop more information about that. And registration for student organizations will close on September the 1st at 5:00 p.m. So even once we are on campus, and people have still not made up their mind whether or not they want to register, they will have about a month after school has started, or about a week, 2 weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks or so after school has started to make a decision whether or not they want to be a registered and active organization for the year. Resources that are available for all student organizations for the fall semester and throughout the entire academic year will still be the Cost of Student Activities Fund and the fundraising and solicitation forms. We will still have storage lockers available. We will still allow for the 60 black and white and 35 colored copies of flyers per event, whether that is in a virtual capacity or a physical in-person face-to-face event. We do still have computer access. We may have to rearrange how we allow people or allow students to access the computers, but those will still be available along with our collaboration and workspace. We will still have individual appointments with the Council of Presidents, along with executive board leadership development trainings and education and training workshops. We are still in the process of doing new student org consultations. And then again, just general assistance. Like I said before, if you have an idea, not sure how to quite go through with it, not sure if you should do it, we are here to help you with that as well. For student organizations, presidents, and vice presidents, you all are a part of the COP GroupMe. Again, we do have a few rules of engagement for that. It's from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Ask the e-board before you ask me. And if you have, again, specific questions for your organization, send us an email at copeboard@ncat.edu, making sure that you state the full name of your organization along with the acronym and full details of your problem, question, or concern, so that we can make sure that we are able to assist you in a timely manner. Connect with us, both the Office of Student Activities and the Council of Presidents, via Twitter and Instagram. It is at NCAT OSA and at NCAT COP. We are also available via email, osa@ncat.edu and copeboard@ncat.edu. Once we return to campus, we will be in the Student Center, Suite 332, with the office hours of 8 to 5. So if you have any questions or concerns or want to stop by, please email us and let us know so that we can be accommodating to you in your organization. I want to make sure that we, again, are respecting your time, and we want to make sure that all questions have been answered. And if you have any more questions, we will hang around for a little bit. Again, I truly do want to thank you all for your time and attention today as we kind of work through what this will look like for the fall semester.
Ms. Tia?
Yes.
We have a question, and I'm not sure if you may have mentioned it. Is the org fair going to be canceled this year, or how will that work?
So the org fair will not be canceled. We are working to find an online solution for the org fair. There are quite a few companies who have already, and institutions who have already been doing virtual org fairs. And so I have been in contact with them. It will still be held. It will not be held on the original date that we kind of put out there, but we are looking at how we will do that. But we will still have org fair so that you all can have the opportunity to connect and get new members, as well as interact with our freshman class for your organizations.
That was the last question we had.
Okay, I was going to say, any other questions? Yes, so your flyers, whether in person or virtual, all your flyers will go through a new process. For our workshop on June 25th, we will be discussing 1891 Connect and all of its potential. So we will be revamping the way flyers are being approved, and we will still ask that you put them in for your online events as well. That is to help us not only track the number of events that all organizations are doing, but again, so that you can reach a broader audience. The group meet for the upcoming school year has been made. If you are not a part of that, please send me an email with your name, your number, and the name of the organization you are the president or vice president of. Those are the only two positions that are in the group meet. Again, I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Yes, this recording will be shared. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out either via email or social media so that we can again assist you in your organizations during this unknown time period.